Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
And if you didn't get a chance to watch last week's Black Authors Matter TV Awards show, go online on our Facebook page and the whole show is there and you'll really enjoy it. And we also, as a separate post, we posted the entertainment that we had for like our intermission period as a separate video. So you can, if you want to just watch that video, you can do that too on the archive page.
He did a great job.
It was really good. I was wondering, I watched it again a couple of times because just he produced it himself. And so he had different clothes on. It was different camera angles. And I just wondered how did he do all that? So I'm gonna ask him when I see him. But anyway,
No.
yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. But I also posted the entertainment we had in 2023, and I'm gonna post the other two. I'm gonna wait a little while, and because we never shared them, we just had it on the show. We never shared it with our viewers, our followers. So we have an amazing show tonight. We have a book to give away. And the only announcement I have is that the National Black Book Festival registration for standard registration ends May 31st, which is a Saturday. It's a couple of weeks from now. We're at 77% capacity. The price goes up after May 31st. So if you want to be an author, participating author, sign up before then. Otherwise, it's more and the deposit is more. So, and we expect to sell out by the end of June. So, we were going to get right to our first guest, and her name is Dr. Xenia Barnes. And she has a book as well as an event. And also, she talks about triumphing. Triumphing seems to be a word that she utilizes to talk about the things that she works on. And it's good to triumph. We're supposed to be overcomers and triumph over any adversity that we encounter. And so she's going to tell us why she picked that as her theme and about her books. So Dr. Xenia, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thanks for having me. Good evening. I hope you're having a lovely day.
Well, we are here. Thank you. Now, are you joining us from Brooklyn?
Yes, I am. Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. All right. Well,
I heard it.
Me too. When she said New York, that was you can hear that the accent, and even people who have been gone for a long time, you can still hear it. Like they transplanted somewhere else, you can still hear that New York accent. So tell us about your work with triumphing and why you picked that as your theme.
Awesome. So again, my name is Reverend Dr. Xenia Barnes. I am an author, speaker, and social behavioral scientist. And so a lot of the work that I do is rooted in studying human behavior, as well as supporting survivors. So whether that is survivors of violence, survivors of terminal illness, survivors of visible and invisible disabilities. So in doing so, I wanted to structure a framework that helps individuals navigate through their process when they're redefining what their life looks like after being diagnosed, or even after re-engaging back into the workforce after going through a traumatic experience, which is the reason why I say triumph, right? And because I want to redefine not only what trauma is, but also redefine what triumph is. Most people, when they think about triumph, they think about big celebratory things. They think about prizes and trips and lavish things. But what does that look like for someone who's been through something traumatic? And triumph in the trenches is about identifying what your triumph is, whether it is the small wins to get to a bigger win, or whether it is you just acknowledging where you are and your self-determination to want to push the will to do better. And so that's why I use triumph a lot, which aligns with my framework from trauma to triumph.
Okay.
One thing about dealing with trauma is that many people deal with it differently, and the timeline for getting to that triumph can be different for different people. Is that something that you address in your book?
Absolutely. So the book itself, this volume, Triumph in the Trenches, which is called, we consider it the Green Book for Black Professionals. It is an anthology, which is myself and 9 other Black professionals from different professions. And what we noticed as a collective, that although our backgrounds were different and the fields that we worked in were different, we all were experiencing different forms of trauma within the workplace. And we all handle it with different frameworks. And so that's why this book is so important, because it speaks to just that. Everyone's timeline is different. Everyone handles situations and trauma differently, yet we all want the best for ourselves. And so each author came up with their own framework of how to navigate in those spaces of breaking barriers of systematic oppression, breaking barriers of, like my chapter speaks on disability, invisible disabilities in the workforce. And so that what that traumatic experience looks like, sounds like, and feels like in the workplace, but it also gives you different steps. It's like a structure, a framework that you get to navigate through wherever you are within your experience and where you are on your pathway to your triumph.
I'm very glad that you mentioned invisible, because I think sometimes when we think of somebody who's going through trauma, that they're supposed to look like what they're going through. And sometimes you can present to the world as if everything is okay, and you could be falling apart on the inside. Or you could have certain disabilities, like, for instance, my sister has MS. There are days where I would forget that she has MS. And then there are other days where we're walking together and she has to slow down a little bit because, her foot starts to drag a little bit. Or when we go to an amusement park, like we went to Disney World, she had to get in the scooter because she couldn't do that much walking. Or she gets hot faster than other people. Or she gets tired faster than other people. So sometimes people can present very normal. And I use quote marks because normal can be different things for different people. But we don't always see it. And so we think that the person is okay, or we think that they have an attitude when they may just be dealing with something that they don't want to talk about.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it's almost like you had a snapshot into my life. So for myself, if I don't have my oxygen on, you cannot tell that I'm disabled. I suffer from pulmonary fibrosis, which means my lungs are hardening. And it's irreversible. So it's a terminal illness. And I only have 34% functionality between both of my lungs. So I did the double lung transplant. And there are days where I'm like, right now, like I'm smiling and I'm able to talk and engage and move around. But there are days where I can barely lift my head. There are days where I can barely get up off the couch and I need a lot of assistance. And so those days are the days that most people don't get to see because I'm in the house. Like only my personal, my circle, my tribe gets to see that. But on the outside, if you see me on the outside, you'll just think like, hey, you're doing great. I heard you were sick, but I'm happy that you're doing much better. And so that's why I consider that an invisible disability. Because like I said, if I don't have my oxygen on, you can't tell that something's wrong with me. And I say that to say how challenging that can be, but also how triggering it is for someone who is battling a terminal illness that is visible to others, because you don't see the bruises on my body of all the hurt and the pain and the things that I suffer with on the inside. So you think that I'm okay because I present that. I wear the mask of I'm okay, so that I don't have to continuously have to explain to others on with me. And so that's part of what my chapter is about. My chapter is about not having to continuously make other people feel comfortable about your disability.
Makes a lot of
sense. As someone who is battling an invisible disability often has to navigate through that, and that's why they wear that mask of I'm okay, because it's exhausting having to continuously make others feel comfortable about your situation and what you're going through, whether it's terminal illness, whether it's mental disabilities, whether it is a breakup from a relationship, like it doesn't like whatever your trauma is, it's your trauma, and you shouldn't have to make others feel comfortable about your trauma because you're living it. It's yours.
Exactly.
Now, did you say that you needed a double lung transplant, or you already got a double lung transplant?
No, I need one. So I am currently in the transplant program, and what we're doing now is we're maximizing the time that I have with my lungs, because it's such a strenuous operation, and it's going to be so much on my body. They want to maximize the amount of time that I have with the capacity that I have with my lungs before they put my body through the actual transplant, because it's a 2-year recovery, a minimum of 2.
Wow, a 2-year recovery. Is that long in recovery terms?
Well, everybody's recovery is different, but for because I need 2 lungs, not just one, the recovery time is a little longer. I know, like, I'm in a community of people who went through the process of having a transplant, and I know someone who just had 1 lung. She had a transplant for 1 lung, and she's already halfway through her recovery. And it's been about 6 to 8 months, and she's already off the oxygen. She's moving around, but again, she only needed 1 lung, so it's different for each person. But they give you a benchmark, and the benchmark, what they're saying, because I need 2 lungs, it'll be a baseline of 2 years.
Okay. And did they do both lungs at the same time for the transplant, or did they do 1 lung and then see how you adjust to that and then do the other one?
So I haven't had my transplant yet. I still need the transplant.
No, I know, but I'm saying
when they go in to do it, because of my illness, they have to do both lungs at the same time, because both of my lungs are hardened, and if they only do 1, then it's going to put so much strain on the one that it could actually deteriorate it. So they're going to do both lungs at the same time.
Okay. Do you have a copy of your book handy that you can show us so we can see? We hadn't done that yet. And Trying from the Trenches. And you say it's an anthology.
Yes, it's an anthology. Like I said, there are the book consists of 10 different authors. And this book, let me tell you, this book is so important. The reason why it's so important, because whether you are in a C-suite, on a corporate setting, or if you in the church house pews, this book is for you. It is so many different stories of individuals who have walked their walk, who have experienced different levels of trauma, different levels of workplace psychological safety, whether it is mobbing, whether it is gaslighting, whether it is just not the thought of forcing you to do things out of your comfort zone. Let's say, like in my chapter, I speak about people who are neurodivergent, and being forced to be in spaces where it's like constant happy hour, constant, what's that, sunshine committee activities, and for some neurodivergent, that doesn't work well for them, and it's just like that forcefulness of this is what workplace culture is supposed to look like, versus leading from a space of meeting all your employees where they are and creating this safe space where people are able to come to work, be themselves, be their professional self. I don't want to just say be their other self, but be their professional self, so that they can show up being the best version of themselves, rather than being forced to do things based on someone. I'm the word I'm searching for. Based on someone's perception of what they believe they should look like, or what they believe they should do.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not even neurodivergent, and I don't want to be around a whole bunch of people either. Sometimes I just need to be in my little corner.
And that doesn't mean you're incompetent. That doesn't mean that you don't know the job. That doesn't mean that you won't engage in different activities here and there. It just means that this is not something I want to do all the time.
Right.
Going up to work doesn't give you the right to dictate that I have to be at every function that the job has that's outside of my role. It doesn't give you access to my personal authentic self. It gives you access to my professional authentic self, but not my personal. And so in the book, I speak about that, the difference between the two, being that your personal is for your people who earned that, your nuclear net, your family members, your close friends, the people who have earned your trust. Where your professional authenticity is about you showing up, being articulate, being able to be competent, and being able to do the work that you're assigned to do, the work that you signed on when you say, okay, I'm signing this handbook, I'm signing this professional handbook, and I'm clocking in every day. This is what your professional authentic person is. That doesn't give everybody the right to your personal.
Okay, so it looks like you're alluding to what my daughter calls the work, and what I hear about a lot is work-life balance, which is a fairly new term, because that wasn't a term that was used when I entered the workplace. Of course, I've been the employer for decades. I haven't been an employee in many years, and so the perspectives have changed over time, with what employees expect to have, not be overloaded with work. It depends on the job, though, because some jobs are still demanding in terms of, like, if you go into some professions, they expect you to work 80 hours a week if you're on the salary. I know my daughter was at one of the big four accounting firms, and they just, when it was busy season, it was on. So, I mean, you had to, they didn't want to hear about any work-life balance. They just had to serve their clients. So there is a balance between the business being successful and keeping clients, and the workers not feeling like they're overloaded with work to where they don't have a personal life, or they're so exhausted that they can't have a personal life. So,
but that's the key. It's not about the personal life per se, but it's about, you can get more out of me if I'm not worn out.
Correct.
Yeah. And you can also get more out of me if I feel valued. So we're at a time now, and this, I wouldn't say this is fair new. I'd say over the last 20, almost 30 years. I remember even when I was still in the Army, our boss, our commander would say, if you need to take leave, take leave. I know this is a busy time, but it's never going to be unbusy. Mm-hmm. So if you need to take time off, don't feel bad about putting in your leave. Just communicate. And even now, we say the same thing. I say it to my employees all the time. If you need to take time, take the time. Just communicate with me. Don't just take your day off And then you have a whole bunch of things singing in the balance. And then people come asking me what's happening with this and that. And I didn't know you didn't finish it. So, so that's part of where the balance comes in too. You have to be able to decompress. You have to be able to spend time with your family. You have to be able to, if you just want to sit down and do nothing but watch Beyond the Gates all day, you should be able to do that.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, girl,
I hear about it. I hear about it, but
and so what you're talking about, that is leading from a trauma informed place. That's leading from a place of understanding where if I burn you out, I'm going to get less productivity from you. Then I create a space where you know that it's okay for you to use your days that you have, right? Because you already have days, so use your days and use your days wisely. I'm not saying that you're gonna take all your days at one time, and if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. Whether
just don't come to me later on in the year talking about you need some time off.
Understanding, it's this understanding that your days are your days. Just use them wisely, because if you know what, I want to go have me a hot girl summer, and I'm going to use all my time the first week of June, and then here comes December, and I'm like, I got this cough. I need to understand that I use my days, and now that cough, it might have to be an unpaid day because I used all my days already. I'm not saying that you can't take it off, but I just need you to understand that you already used those days. But you want to also make sure that you as the individual, if all you're doing is working and you're not making time for that self-care, that mental wellness, going to those doctor appointments and checking up on your health, the moment you do get sick and something comes up, and in my case, I can even speak from experience, giving all myself to the job, and then when I was diagnosed with my illness, the job was already replacing me before I can even put in a full plan of how I could do my work remotely. They were already like, all right, we have somebody in that place. We need you in the building, and since you can't be in the building, we're gonna have to hire someone else for your position. And so they were already forcing me. They were already ready to force me out, in which they actually ended up doing, forcing me out. Instead of being able to come to the table and work with me and say, okay, well, this is happening during COVID. We're just coming off of COVID. For 2 years, we were working remotely. So, and you have a team of people under you, there's a way that you can still work remotely and manage the team that's in the building, And so I share that to say how important it is for you to make sure that you're checking up on yourself, make sure that you're not burning yourself out, because if you burn yourself out, no one is going to give you what you need, at least from the work profession, because they're still worrying about their bottom line. So it's like, if you're burnt out or not, that bottom line is the most important to them. So you have to be the most important to you. And when you think about work-life balance, that's what you need to be thinking about. You need to be thinking about, how do I carve in time for myself and my loved one and not put them to the back burner, because that is who I'm going to have to lean on when things get rough for me.
Right.
And anybody, schedule it. If you even feel like you need to schedule in your self-care days, and when I say self-care, I don't mean going to get your nails done or going to get your hair done. I mean actual self-care, and what that looks like for you. If it is a day of just laying in the bed, if it is a day where you decide that you're going to watch TV, then write a book, you're going to go walk on the beach, whatever it is that's going to allow you to process your thoughts, feelings, and your emotions, so that you are showing up with a clear, level head, and in a space where you feel good about who you are and the decisions that you are able to make, and you don't have to continuously wear a mask. That's what your self-care is. Your self-care is making sure that home, all of home, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, is taken care of.
Yeah. If you're exhausted, your creativity and productivity and all of that is hampered. It's hard to be creative and productive when you're exhausted. So, the burnout is real, and people need time off. For even entrepreneurs need time off. So,
especially
and,
entrepreneurs who need
especially
time off. When you
because
work for
we had
somebody,
to,
you work in 8 hours. But when
right,
you're an entrepreneur,
right.
you
You
might be
work
working
all the
8 hours
time.
plus another 8 or 10 after that.
Yeah, and all of the
Oh, because you
future
know
of
what?
your
Because you
business
are
is
the
on
bottom
you. So,
line. You're the brand. You're the bottom
yeah,
line. Marketer. You the
yeah,
PR. You the boss. You the staff. You everything. When
yeah.
you're an entrepreneur, but even so, you still have to. And like for myself, scheduling time. There's a timer set on my phone where it's scheduling. Where it's like this is your downtime. This is the time where you like just do nothing. This is the time where you have to focus on doing something that brings you joy. So I schedule different things in those timers so it allows me to remind myself to pause, to breathe, and so that I'm not burnt out. Because entrepreneurs, we can burn ourselves out too.
Oh, you
Yep.
can, you can. And I tell people, I, I can't remember. I mean, like on the wood, but the last time I was actually sick for any length of time, because I don't get sick leave. I don't get sick days, so I can't. But fortunately, I've been healthy. I think I've been like, if I get sick, it's for like a day, and then because I take my supplements, and I pay attention to what I put in my body in terms of processed food, not eating processed foods, and all those kinds of things, and staying active and getting exercise. I don't work out, but I do make sure that I'm exercising, and all those things are important. And what I found for me, I split my day up, and so I'm not like working 8 continuous hours generally, or 10, whatever the Naranda said is not 8 anyway, but I break my day up. And I can work if I need to do some stuff at night. I'm actually a night person. So my brain generally has to warm up, and then as the day goes on, it gets hotter and hotter. At night is when I do my writing and my creative stuff. I send a lot of emails at night, but I time them so people get them in the morning because it's quiet. And so I'm able to break my day up. But um, tell us about because we only have a couple minutes left. You have triumphs on the rooftop,
Yes.
and there's an event you're having. So I want you to get something in about that before you leave.
Thank you very much. So yes, on June 28th, it's in Brooklyn, New York, on the rooftop. We will be triumphing on the rooftop. It is an opportunity for storytelling. It's an opportunity to meet myself in person as well as some of my co-authors. And we will just be joined with truth telling. We'll be joined with showing you different tools and strategies that you can use to be able to navigate the systems and the structures that you need to, so that you too can triumph as well. There's going to be music, food, gifts given away. It's just going to be such a great time. We are redefining what triumph looks like, and we are redefining what trauma is and how you face it. So again, it's going to be on June 28th in Brooklyn, New York. You can go to my website, which is www.xeniabonds.com to purchase your ticket. And it's going to be a bunch of joy, just a great space so that everyone can elevate in success.
Well, we did put both of your websites, your book link as well as your website in the chat. So we hope everybody will click those links and support not only the book, but the event as well.
And show us the cover one more time for the book.
And let me tell you how awesome this event is. When you get your ticket also covers a signed copy of the book. So you'll get, the book will be there for you. So yes, your book can be signed. And like I said, it's not only myself, it's some of my co-authors as well. So you'll be able to get multiple signatures. You can have them sign their chapter. You'll be able to take photos. It's just going to be a great time. And that's on June 28th.
Okay, wonderful. In Brooklyn. Okay, well, thank you so much, Dr. Xenia.
Let me make sure I'll be remiss if I didn't say the time, from 12 to 4 p.m.
Oh, okay, 12, and the date is a Saturday. Is it a Saturday?
Yes, that's a Saturday. Okay. So you still have time to go hang out with the family afterwards, but you can do something for yourself earlier in the day.
There you go. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Xenia. It's been a pleasure meeting you and talking with you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for sharing your platform.
No, you
Wonderful.
want and best wishes on you getting your lungs.
Thank you so much.
Yes, best wishes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Have a great night.
You do the same.
Okay. Okay. We have one book to give away, so we're going to do that now. And the book we have to give away is a romance book. It's by Sierra London. She was one of the finalists for the Black Authors Matter TV in the romance category. And she's also been on the show. This is her latest book, Fake It Till You Make It. And the trivia for the book is the author lives in Virginia and has a tabby cat. And this is the actual author, Sierra London. Has a cat, it's a tabby. What is the cat's name? So if you get the answer to that trivia, you'll get your copy of the book. It's a book, not an ARC, and we'll send it right out to you. Okay, so our next guest is a children's author. And she goes by, her author name is Ashley Iman. And I'm not sure if that's her, like her middle name or just her pen name, but we'll find out.
Hi.
Hi, Ashley. Welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Oh, thank you.
Now, is Ashley Iman your pen
You all hear
name
me?
or your middle name? Yes,
Yes,
we
we
hear
hear
you.
you.
We hear you. Can you
Great.
hear us?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. 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 Is Ashley Iman just your pen name, or is Iman your middle name, and you decided to go with that?
Yeah, Iman is my middle name. And so that's what I go by. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And you have one children's book that I know about. You may have more, but then you have another one in the same series coming out June 24th. So show us a copy of Ruby Renee Had So Much to Say. Do you have a copy of it?
I do somewhere in this room. Oh man, I should have had a copy ready
Oh,
to
okay.
show you.
Well, that
Oh
would
my
be
gosh.
nice.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I
Okay,
got one
all
over
right.
here.
I'm just checking some of the chat
Yes.
just to see if
Oh
there's anything.
goodness, great. Yeah. Here's
Okay.
a copy of the book. Can you see?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of
Your
it's
background is
children.
not letting you be great.
Yeah.
I know. I gotta find a way
Put
to
it
like
put it
block
right
it
in
and
front.
blur.
Put it right
Put
in
it right
front
in
of
front of you,
you.
like
There you
Here
go.
it
Right
is.
there, right there, right there. Right there. Ruby Renee had so much to say. And so the title is catchy
Mhm.
as well as the cover. And so what did she have to say? What?
Yeah. So Ruby is just a talkative little girl, right? She
Okay.
has she, loves to listen to like public radio and podcasts with her family. And so she has little facts to share. She likes to tell you what's on her mind. I guess the better question would be like, what does she not have to say,
All
honestly?
right, so she a little smarty pants.
Yes, very smart girl.
Now, how old is she in the book? What
Yeah,
age?
she's 8 years old.
And she's listening to podcasts at 8 years old.
She is. I mean,
No,
she's modeled after me. I was listening to public radio with my dad at that age.
really interesting. Interesting.
Mhm.
It's interesting what people do with their parents. The kinds
Yeah.
of activities that they do with their parents. My dad was a pastor, so we were in church. Uh,
I'm
that's
about to
what
say,
we.
Mhm.
I grew up with my grandmother, so I knew every gospel song on the radio.
Yeah. And when we got home, it was 4 siblings. We played church. So that was
Oh,
the
I can see
game we
it.
played. My brother,
Mhm.
who's now passed, he was the preacher, and
Mhm.
and I would pretend to play the piano, and then I would also take up the offering.
That's amazing. I love that.
And so we would, I mean, because that was our life. That's where we spent most of our
Mhm.
time. And so, but it's interesting what you do with your parents, the things, the activities
Right.
that you do with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we traveled a lot with him too, because he would preach different places. So we would go on
Mm-hmm.
road trips.
That's
Um,
beautiful. I love that.
we did back. So, now is Ruby Renee, is that a real person? Or Ruby Renee is you said.
I
Kind of
mean, she's
sort.
she's yeah,
Kind
she's definitely like amalgamation, I think, of lots of different folks. She's definitely inspired by me as far as like what makes her want to talk so much. But I wanted to write the book because there were so many little Black girls like Ruby Renee in my classes when I was teaching, and I found myself thinking, I love that they want to share. I also desperately need to get through my lessons. What is like a way to kind of rewrite their story, in some ways, kind of also rewrite my own story?
hmm. So did you teach at that grade level? 8 year
I actually
old?
taught middle school. Yeah. I was talking
Oh,
to somebody about this the other day. Like, why did I end up writing a book for elementary school kids when
I was
I'm like
just about to ask you that question.
I am a solidly secondary person. I taught middle school and high school. Um, But I've always loved children's books. Even as a middle school teacher, I had a wall of children's books in the classroom. So,
oh, okay. Well, maybe
Mhm.
you're like reflecting on how these kids would have been with your
Mhm.
influence at 8 years old, you know. Uh,
Yeah, maybe.
yeah. So now, did you have any books before this? I know this one's published
Mhm.
by one of the Penguin Random House, isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay. Did you have some
Yeah.
books before that? Did you self-publish, or this is your very first
No,
book?
this is my very first book.
Oh, okay, great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. So how did you get the Penguin Random House connection? How did that come about?
Yeah. So during the pandemic, and I think in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, there was a lot of discussion about how do we make sure that we are, lifting Black voices, right? And so the Authors Guild had a call essentially for anybody interested in writing. Just submit a manuscript, and then they were going to send it to a bunch of different agents, and the agents could like offer you feedback. I submitted. I was a teacher who was at home, honestly, also kind of like reflecting and trying to wreck in. Um, and I found an agent through that, right? I have a truly, truly incredible agent, and she read it and was supposed to just give me feedback, but she also said, you know what, actually, I really want to work with you, and I think we can get this published. And she did. So I had no connections at Penguin Random House. It was truly because of the Authors Guild and my incredible agent.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
That's an amazing story. And it's also
Mhm.
a testament as to why sometimes you just have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, where's the Authors Guild? You live
Uh,
in Alexandria, right? You're in the
I live in
DMV.
Alexandria, but it was just like, I think it's a national organization.
It's
I
a
had never
national
heard of it.
organization.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, we have a guild here, but it's local. But I don't know if it's connected to a national group. So that's
Yeah.
why I asked.
It could
Hmm.
be a chapter of the
It
national
could be.
group
It
because,
could.
yeah, the Office Guild's been around for quite a while. And
Yeah.
they do
Hmm.
a lot of great advocacy work for authors.
Hmm.
Yeah, they do. So, um, you're still teaching?
I work in education, but I don't teach anymore.
Oh, okay. You're not teaching. Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. When you were in the classroom, what did you see in students that you want reflected in the books that you write, like behaviors or potential or
Yeah, I just saw so many, specifically my Black girls, who were like thoughtful and curious and like had something to say. And I think sometimes like those kinds of behaviors are celebrated in other types of folks, but they were not celebrated in my Black girls. And so I just really wanted to make sure that every little Black girl knew that like their voice was powerful, right? We want to hear what you have to say. I think about all of the Black girls who challenged me and made me a better teacher. And I'm so grateful, honestly, for them.
So,
hmm. Yeah, it's good to have a teacher that's an advocate
Hmm.
and doesn't just do this job.
what is your goal
Hmm.
with this book?
Mhm. I think it's twofold, right? Like I want to make sure that little Black girls see themselves in literature. I specifically wanted her to be dark skinned with natural hair and big glasses, right? Like I want them to see themselves, and I want them to know that like you can be curious, you can speak your mind. But I also want to acknowledge, especially as a teacher, like sometimes it is hard to make it through a lesson if every 30 seconds somebody is like, raising their hand, something to share. Like I have my own things that I am required to do by my district too. And so I really wanted to make sure that we, celebrated like the voices of our children, specifically our Black girls, but also recognize that like let's find a creative outlet because like yes, share your story, but also find the right time and space to do so.
Yes, yes.
Okay, now Ruby Renee,
Mhm.
is that a name? Where'd you get that name?
Well, it started with, Ruby Bridges. I have always loved Ruby Bridges.
Okay.
I just have so much like admiration and respect for her. And so I said, I definitely want to do Ruby. Like that, her name has to be Ruby. Um,
Okay.
but my name is Ashley Iman. My actual name was Ashley Iman, but I went by Ashley because I grew up in an area where I was like the only Black girl, and I just wanted to blend as much as I could. And so I've been really trying to like reclaim that. So I said she needs a second name, right? And I wanted it to kind of feel like mine, and so that's how we got Ruby Renee.
Okay. And then there's something to say, it rhymes, so you get that.
It worked out,
It
right?
worked out. Okay, so your actual first name is Iman?
Oh, that is a funny. So my mother put on my like the paper to apply for my birth certificate. It was Ashley Iman, and she also spelled it differently. There was an I at the end of Ashley. She put an extra N on there. And my dad went and changed it. He said, "Absolutely not. I want my baby to get a job."
That's
And
that's
as much as I understand where he was coming from, I still kind of feel bad that my mama didn't get to name me what she wanted to name me. And so while I didn't change the spelling back, I've been reclaiming it and making it like my name is Ashley Iman. That's what I go by.
okay. It's funny.
Mhm.
Parents do that. The whole naming thing is a conversation. I know for me, I have one child, and so my husband and I had already agreed that her first name was going to be Sylvia after his great
Mhm.
great grandmother who raised him. So, and then Richardson, that's his name.
Mhm.
So, he has two. And so I wanted her middle name to be named after my maternal grandmother,
Mm.
whose name was Rochelle. Well, he had a problem with that. So, and so I'm like, well, why do you get all of I'm like deflated. Why do you not? I only have one child. I wanted, she has to have my stamp on there. So he already had an answer. So when he said,
Mhm.
"Come on, Rochelle," he said we can name her middle name Day. Now my maiden name is Daye. So it's kind of different. And so, when I thought about it, I was like, well, okay, that we can do that. So that whole naming thing, it can be a conversation. I mean, it can be like a negotiation, even. And I guess if you have a lot of kids, you get a lot of different chances to name. But, he had three other children. So this was my one shot. So,
Mhm. I get it. And my mother had already told everybody what my name was. So I
okay.
actually have a bunch of baby books and things that have this other name that is not my actual name anymore. So
That's funny. So you have another book that's coming out
Mhm.
next month that's like the sequel companion to this one. And so give us the
Mhm.
title of that one.
Yeah, it's Ruby Renee always gets her way.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Ruby
Are
Renee
all
is
the titles going to rhyme like that? Because I
yeah,
think
that's
it's
what I was saying.
Yeah.
So you need to find another word that ends with you got say and way,
Yep.
day. Ruby
Mhm.
Renee saves the day. That could be number three. I've given you your title.
I'll give you your credit when we write it.
So what happens to Ruby in book two?
Yeah, so at the end of book one, Ruby has found her outlet. She knows exactly how she's going to share her thinking. And so we pick up in book two. She's leading her radio show. Essentially, she's leading her morning announcements. She's loving it. But when you create a platform like that, other people also want to participate, and so she gets a co-host. It doesn't quite go the way she wants it to go. And so now Ruby has to learn, how do you continue to speak up, continue to share your voice, but also make space for others to share their thoughts too.
Oh, okay. That's neat.
Yeah.
So she's kind
Mhm.
of like almost a budding entrepreneur in that.
Oh, she is. She is a public radio host in the making.
Love
Okay.
it.
I like that. I I had thought about doing something along those lines in my book series,
Mhm.
Kids Biz, but so far I haven't gotten to that. Like, I thought about something with social media or something
Mm.
like that. Even though it's for small kids, so you have to be careful about how you present it.
Mhm.
But I had thought about doing something like that, like having a child, or but mine has a group of kids, so it's three kids.
Mhm.
So they how they could work together to do something like that. So something about kids books, you can be kind of creative, think outside the box. Um, come up with some different now. Did you see other books on the like this topic? Have you seen any other
Mhm.
books with characters like yours?
Yeah, I would say not the particular topic about speaking up, but like I was really inspired by the Ada Twist scientist books. I love those books. I also like the kind of like, the way they titled it. And I think just there's so many great inspirations of like really courageous, brave, excitable black female characters who were just like doing it their own way, making their way in the world. I love that.
Yeah. Now, I go out to book events and
Mhm.
I hear a lot from parents who have boys, and they say there's not enough written for Black boys.
Mhm.
So, do you get that as a teacher? Did you get any feedback like that, or did you hear that from parents?
Yeah, actually, an interviewer asked me that question too, and I think there needs to be more books written for Black boys, and I also think that like we need more Black men writing those books, right? I think that I it's really important for me to be mindful of my lane, and I try not to write about things that I don't know, right? And so I don't know what Black boyhood is like. I don't know the difficulties in Black masculinity. I would love to support someone who is writing a book like that, but I wouldn't want to do it and get it wrong, right? I don't want to speak for a community that's not mine.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense. And I wish a lot more people would not try to write about a community that they haven't experienced or at least studied closely and not just
Mhm.
saw something on TV and said, I think I can write about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So, no,
it
go ahead,
has
go ahead,
to
Quinn.
fit. Well, it has to resonate. That's the word I want to use.
Mhm.
It has to resonate with the children. Um, my books have three characters in all of them, and it's two boys
Mhm.
and a girl, but they're young,
Mhm.
like your character. So
Mhm.
when they're young, you can have a little bit more flexibility in terms of if you've been around boys. You can a lot of things with young boys. They're very active. They're very they have a lot of energy, and
Mhm.
when it's two together, a lot of times they'll wrestle and tussle but it's not they're not fighting. It's just
Mhm.
right. I had two brothers, so they were always wrestling and rolling around, and my mom
Mhm.
was like, okay, as long as they don't get hurt. But that's what they're different. They have different
Yeah.
Mhm.
motivators and different energy and all kinds of differences. So Ruby Renee has her way within book
Mhm.
two, which comes out June 24th.
Yeah.
And
I'm
do
excited.
you have an art? Do you have a advanced reading copy or? a galley?
Not yet. I think I get mine in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I'm excited. I've obviously seen like the PDF copy, but there's nothing like holding the book in your hand, and so I'm,
Right.
I'm excited for it.
Right. So how do you promote your book? Have you been to schools with it, youth groups? What do you do to
Yeah.
get the word out?
I love going and reading in schools. I specifically like to read in DC schools. I worked for KIPP DC, and they were very upset with me that I hadn't read in any KIPP schools. Like the book had been out a year, and I had not read in any of my own schools. Awkward like that. I was like, I don't want to promote it at my own job. That feels very weird.
Yeah, it feels
But
good to do.
yeah, but other schools in the city, I've definitely gone and done some book readings there. I've been really, really lucky to be invited to be on a couple of to do like some local news. I'm a huge NPR fan. I may or may not have cried when I went into NPR studios to do an interview there. So yeah, there's been some buzz, and I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yeah, that was how we found out about it. You came across our radar, the buzz. Those.
And you live right down the street from me because yeah, I live in Accokeek, Maryland, which is right across the bridge, basically from.
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so great. Okay,
yeah, the
DMV.
DC is expanding.
Mhm.
Almost as much as Houston, where I live. We just want people to stop coming. Just stop. We have
I
enough.
think we
We're
can
full.
empathize with that.
We're full. uh, so show us one more time the cover of
Mhm.
Ashley. I
Mhm.
mean, not Ashley, Iman. Renee, and has something to say. Has so much to say. And
Yeah.
please tell me what's inside.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna show you my favorite page because it's
Okay.
one of the things that absolutely happened to me, and it never fails to get a laugh with the students when I show it to them.
Okay. Put it close
But
to
here's a
Put
picture.
it close to you. Put
Okay,
it
now you
close
know
Yeah,
we can't
let me
see
see
that.
it
to
close to
you.
me.
There
Yeah.
we
There
go.
we
There you
go.
go. Okay.
Yeah, so it's really this side, this side right here.
Okay.
So she is talking too much, as sometimes we do, and she gets distracted, and unfortunately, she gets hit with a dodgeball, and she finds herself in the nurse's office. Because that also definitely happened to me as well. So yeah, I mean, yes, we want you to share, but also you need to pay attention to the world around you, friend, and that's what happens.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's it's good to be able to put yourself in a book without
Yeah,
saying it's you. It's that's one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
benefit of being a writer. You get to create the characters that are really you, and or the you that you maybe wanted to be, or something that you wanted to do but didn't. You get to create the characters for that. So
Absolutely.
that's that's one of the fun things about writing. So do
mhm.
you do any other kinds of writing?
No, not really. When I was younger, I used to write a lot of poetry, but not so much. I really picked it back up during the pandemic. Um, my whole focus was like teaching. I was focused on teaching, and I was a math teacher, so I wasn't doing any writing really in that field. And then we were all sitting at home, and I was thinking to myself, like, what is the thing that I loved the most when I was a kid? And it was writing, and so I just kind of picked that back up.
Yeah, there are thousands and thousands of books that were written during the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a bunch of people, dozens,
Hmm.
maybe hundreds that have said they started a book or finished a book during the pandemic.
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
Many of them were inspired
yeah,
and they went forward with it. They were inspired to write. They'd never written before. And then they wrote the story during the pandemic and decided to move forward with it. We've had people open entire publishing companies um,
Hmm.
during the pandemic,
yeah,
and which I think is great. I feel like if you were going to be at home, you're not able to move out and be outside, then
Hmm.
be creative, be productive with that time. It doesn't mean that you have to constantly be working, but channel some of that creativity and some of that frustration that you might
Yeah.
because you can't be outside and put it into something. And that's what you did. So I think it's great.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, and this show was created during the pandemic as a
Oh,
result of the
wow.
pandemic. July of
Mhm.
2020. We're approaching our fifth anniversary.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. We have to do something special. It's several dates coming up because we have a
Mhm.
birthday show because our
Right.
birthdays are like 8 days apart. So the show, whatever show is closest to both dates, that's
Yeah,
our
we
birthday
both
show.
do our little birthday
Um,
crowns.
I love that. That's awesome. I love that.
so you just get a two book deal with the Penguin for these two books?
Mhm. It actually wasn't a two book deal. It's been one at a time as
Oh,
we,
okay.
as
They
we've
Okay.
must
seen
be
how
happy
it's
with the way things
sold.
are going.
I'm very happy. And I also, am really grateful that I signed with Penguin, right? They were not the first people who were interested. There were other folks. And my
Options?
agent, yeah, yes, but my agent was so good about helping me to find the right home because it was important to me that Ruby was a full character, that she was all herself and it wasn't going to turn into, I didn't want to flatten her and her entire identity be just about her race. And so I was grateful that we found a really good home that wanted to see the totality, I think, of Ruby.
Well, I mean, I know we only have a few minutes left, but
Mhm.
do you think that's the biggest lesson you learned in this process? Or is there something else that was a
Oh, yeah, I think that really it was about me being really clear on like what was important to me and then being patient, right? Because when I had to turn down a book deal, I said, I've never been published before and somebody wants to publish this book. Why would I say no? It felt so wrong. Um, but my agent was right that that I could have gone that way and I ultimately wouldn't have been proud of what of the outcome. And so just be patient, trust yourself and trust like the work that you have and the team that you surround yourself with and ultimately you will end up in a really good place.
wonderful?
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your book on Ruby Renee's success and her having something to say and having her way. And maybe a book three will be saving the day. Or who knows?
Ah, I can't wait. Let me put that down. Let me write it down right
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Well, have a great evening and thank you for being
Yeah.
a guest on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful.
Thank
Okay.
you. It was great talking with you, and congratulations once again.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy your evenings.
You too. Bye bye.
Okay. Now, did we see someone who won the book?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
I mean, it's a new winner,
okay.
Anita Green.
Anita Green. Well, because I have to scroll up so I can find it. Okay, so respond to her. And Anita, thank you for responding. And because you've never won a book before, you'll need to DM us your mailing address so we can send you your copy of the book. But the answer is the tabby cat that Sierra London has. The name is Fry, Frie. And so you got it right. So, Rhonda, before we bring on our next guest, um, do you want to apprise the audience of some of the places that you're going to be going over the next few months? I know you have a full calendar, so people can see where they're going to
Girl, I
be.
know where I'm going. Let me see. Yeah, I actually posted a list of the places I'm going to, Instagram and Facebook. Oh, here it
Okay,
is
I
right
didn't
here.
mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
Um,
that's okay. I found it. It was very
okay,
easy.
okay.
Okay, so I guess I have the Texas appearance coming up next month, but then I have the Indiana. Ooh, the goodness, I
So what's
forgot about
coming
that.
up next month for you?
Is it the Texas event next month?
It's in November.
Somebody told me I was wrong and that it was next month, and I'm up
There
here paying.
is a Texas event next month, the Lone Star Festival, which is totally different.
Oh, okay. Because I was
Totally different.
because I'm like, I don't have a flight together yet.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't get
I was
sick.
about to call you and tell you I can't do it.
There was a reason why I brought this up.
Okay, so I feel so much better now. But
Okay, yeah, it's
so
not till
let's
November.
start over.
It's after the National Black Book Festival.
Yes. So let's
So,
start over.
okay,
So
all right.
June 5th. So if when we had the Black History Month Literary Weekend back in February, we kicked off the event at Urban Grape DC Winery, which is a Black-owned, woman-owned winery in DC. Well, they invited me back and asked me to host another book signing for Pride Month. So I have 3 authors coming in who are going to be signing their books, and we're basically going to be celebrating Pride voices. Voices that celebrate LGBTQ community. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be on June 5th.
Okay.
On July 18th through 20th, I'm going to be in Indianapolis, Indiana for the Indiana Black Expo. And I'm really, really excited about that event because it's been a long time since I've been at that event and I've never signed at it before. So, but it's a really well attended event. It's a beautiful event. So I'm looking forward to that. And then in August, you and I are going to be at the National Black Book Club Conference.
Yeah, so we'll be there together. And then next month I'll be at the Lone Star Festival in Austin. That's the first weekend in June. So that I'll be there. And then we'll be together in August in Atlanta at the National Book Club Conference. So we're looking for, and of course, we'll be together at the National Black Book Festival in October 23rd through the 25th in Houston. And then we'll also be together at the Texas Book Festival in November in Austin. I think the dates are like the 7th and 8th or something like that, but it's a huge event. They have like 30,000 people. We went last year.
I better bring more than one box of books.
Yeah, it's huge. It's more people for a book thing than probably you'll ever see in one place. It's amazing.
Well, I just very quickly, I have to give a huge shout out to Mr. Richard Ashby because he's invited me to be a part of the Literacy Nation Independent Book Festival again in August. And then he's also invited me to teach a workshop like next month. So this is a really packed year. A lot of great things happening and a lot more to come this year. So just stay in touch with both of us because there's some great things coming and I want you all to be a part of it.
Yeah, and we generally post. I'm going to be posting about me being at the Lone Star Festival. So we have our next guest coming up and we're going to bring her on. And her name is Morgan Jerkins. She has a new book. It's historical fiction. It's called Zeal. And as you all know, before I welcome her on formally and say welcome, if it's historical fiction, 80% of the time, I'm already in there. So I got my copy of Zeal already, and I haven't read it yet because my to be read shelves are overflowing. But
I'm gonna get it because I just finished a book today. I actually was reading Miracle at St. Anna. I've seen the movie years ago, but I wanted to read the book. So I just finished that book and I need a new historical fiction book. So I'm gonna have to jump on Zeal.
Yeah. So Morgan, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
And you are joining us from where are you?
Brooklyn.
Oh, you're in Brooklyn. The first guest was from Brooklyn.
Yeah. New York is just all over the show tonight.
You know, sometimes we'll have a California. I think one night, like everybody was from California. It varies, but we have people from all over. So tell us about Zeal. And I know it's historical fiction. It spans generations. It's just the kind of storyline I love to stick my teeth into. And so
Yeah, so the story begins in the fall of 2019. There's this couple, their names are Ardelia and Oliver, and they're engaged, they're getting engaged. And as the party begins to wind down, Oliver presents a family heirloom to Ardelia, and it is a very old love letter from an enslaved woman to her lover, basically saying that they're going to be together. And then we go all the way back to the summer of 1865, after the Civil War, in Natchez, Mississippi. There is a Union soldier named Harrison who is riding gallantly through the Mississippian fields to reunite with his beloved Tirza. And he finds out that she's gone. And throughout this novel, we trace the trajectories of their respective families until we get to that present time that we started with in the prologue, where we have this couple that's separated because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's through that grief and through that disconnect from community that they find their way back to each other through this centuries long bond.
Wow.
I'm,
So,
I'm loving it. Like I love a story with layers, and there sounds
yeah.
like a lot of layers with this story.
Yeah, a lot of layers and a lot of research. And so it was a type of story where, like, I had the idea during COVID, and I knew that I wanted to write a love story because I felt disconnected from my own community. I was living by myself in Harlem, right by Central Park, and there was such a stark absence of sound when the lockdown happened. I couldn't even hear my neighbors. I couldn't hear dogs barking outside. The only thing I heard were blaring ambulance sirens every day. And so that type of shock to the body is why I was like, you know what? I want to write a love story because I want to feel good and I want to make others feel good. And it was really as simple as that.
Yeah, I remember during the pandemic when they showed on the news the streets of New York, and it was just like something out of a movie, like,
Yeah.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, just desertion, no people, no nothing. And, New York is constant sound, constant noise,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
It's constant sound, constant noise. And of course, and I was working in media at the time. I was working as a senior editor of a minority based company, and so I had to be attached to news. That was part of my job. And when you're constantly getting these updates of like we're running out of hospital beds, when you get these updates of how New York City is the epicenter of the virus, it does something to you. Luckily for me, it did not stifle my creativity. I think it actually animated it.
I like that.
Yeah. So, um, how long did it take you to write the book? It's a
Yeah,
hefty
it
book.
took me 4 years to write the book because um, there was a lot of parts that weren't working at the time. There was a lot that I had to work through as a person to be able to produce some of the chapters, and also it's a big book. It was a big project. It's over 100,000 words. And it's my biggest book yet. And there were times where I doubted myself. Like I had friends of mine who I confided in, and I would cry to them. And I thought that my ambition outweighed my talent. It outweighed my capacity to do what I wanted to do. So it definitely took some time.
So I was going to ask you when you said that there were things you had to work through as a person. Is that what you meant? Just the self-doubt and getting past that?
Self-doubt, and also, Zeal is not only a book that's full of love for each other. Zeal is a product of love for myself. And what I always try to tell people is not only is your book going to evolve, you're going to evolve too as a person because you're going to go through many different seasons of life. And so I feel like I have been writing publicly since I was 22 years old. I'm in my 30s now. And there's a certain type of seasoning that comes with that, for lack of a better phrase. But I had to learn not only to move through self doubt, but to have just this love and to be in love with myself. And I was able to dig deep from that to be able to create these very complicated but tender characters and create these equally as tender dialogue.
Mm. So when you wrote the book, did you pitch it before it was finished, or did you wait until you were completely done before pitching it?
You're the first person to ask me that, because what a lot of writers don't know, if there are any emerging writers that are watching, is that when you sell a book to a publishing house, sometimes they say they want an exclusive with you. What that means is the next project that you have, they will be the first ones that look at it. And if they say no, then you submit it to other editors of different publishing houses and imprints, then they can bid on it. So I think I had an exclusive contract. So I may have written perhaps a chapter or two, something along those lines. I didn't write the whole first draft. That's usually like an advantage of when you're already a published author, that you use. They don't ask you to write the whole book, have it edited, the whole rigmarole.
Right.
So I probably wrote like maybe two or three chapters.
Okay. And so, is this a lane historical fiction that you have written many books in, or is this like your first foray into it?
So my second book, Wandering in Strange Lands, was me really flexing my history nerd self. It was a story about, I was basically trying to bridge the gap between those who fled during the Great Migration and those who remained, and the consequence of that. So it's part family history. It's definitely a travelogue. I went down to the low country of Georgia and South Carolina, to Louisiana, to Oklahoma, and to California, and then back, to the Northeast. So it's definitely traveling. And through that, I had to use not only the oral histories that I gathered from other African Americans, I also had to use historical written research and try to mitigate the two, because sometimes they can combat each other. So I've always been someone, I suppose, that was interested in history, but to have such a foray into it as this was like my big foray. Yeah. So this is like my first one.
Okay. Yeah, 4 years, that's a good amount of time to write a book.
Well, I would say that's pretty fast, because I remember watching the interview with Ta-Nehisi Coates, and it said it took him 10 years to write The Water Dancer. So you good, girl.
I mean, I'm really fast, I will admit. I'm
Yes.
fast, but zeal humbled me, because it showed me early on, oh, this isn't going to be a book that's going to come out in 36 months. This is not going to be a book that comes out in 2 years. Some books that come out in between 18 to 36 months from them buying the book, it comes out. This was not going to be that book.
What did you find was the biggest challenge?
Making sure I got it right. What I mean by that is, so much of Black history is being erased, and I did not want to offend those who came before us.
Yes, I
Essentially,
understand.
I'm not from Natchez, Mississippi. I was born and raised in New Jersey, and because of the pandemic, I could not go down there. So I had to rely on maps and sketches and historical accounts, and even then, I was so nervous about getting it wrong that I think that was hard for me, is recreating that, and also infusing that with my own creativity while not being offensive.
I totally understand that sentiment, because I'm working on a historical fiction novel myself, and it's going to take place in my hometown. But when I'm from New Orleans. I live in the DMV, but I'm from New Orleans. And as much as I love New Orleans, and as much as I feel that I know everything about the city, there's always something new that I'm learning. Or there's something I didn't realize, or something that I took for granted when I was younger, and I had to read on it as an adult, So
yeah, I mean, New Orleans is one of those places where, like, you could get your PhD in just New Orleans history, from like the Louisiana Purchase to like Jim Crow. And I'm pretty sure that people are historians or experts only in that time period. I actually was in New Orleans 2 weeks ago, and this is gonna sound really woo-woo, so stick with me. But I was in a hotel and I woke up at sunrise and something told me to go downstairs and go outside. Just go outside. And I went outside and I walked to the promenade where the Mississippi River was.
Mhm.
And if you look on the cover of my book, you see the Black woman looking in the water towards the sun on one side, and on the other side is a Black man in the water. That water represents the Mississippi River.
Oh,
That was
okay,
the first
okay. So
time
this
I had
is
ever seen the
fun.
Mississippi River in real life.
Okay.
And
This
I
is
called
Wow.
my
And that's
friend up.
something I take for granted.
Yeah, and I called and I was looking around. I was the only Black woman out there, and I was seeing a lot of people just jogging and taking pictures. And I actually called up my friend. He has roots in Mississippi. He lives in Jersey. And I said, can you hold space for me for like 5 minutes? And he was like, sure. I just cried. I cried.
Mm.
And it wasn't even because I was sad. It was just because it was so big. It looked like an ocean. And also because when you think about it, like how many people's lives were changed using that water to come in? How many people didn't survive? How many people are underneath it? You know, like it just I was just I was struck. It was so intense, and it was an emotional release.
It's a very, very long. It's it's not as big as some rivers, but it's so long. It goes through, what is it, 8 states?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very long.
Yeah.
It almost just goes
The
down.
whole
Oh
length of the
yeah,
United States.
yeah.
Does
And I
it
mean,
does it spill out into the Gulf of Mexico?
it's right there. I mean, when you talk to people,
I
like
think it is. I think it is
It does go into the Gulf of
the
Mexico.
Gulf. Okay. Okay. Um, so it's very long, and whenever I go over the bridge, like there's the bridges are always really high. I guess because of boats and ships and that come through. But it's almost like going on a roller coaster, like going up the first leg of a roller coaster. Um, I think the first from Houston is in it's right after Lake Charles, or is it Baton Rouge? I think it's Baton Rouge where that first high bridge is that crosses the Mississippi River. I think it's
wow.
Baton Rouge. Am
No,
I right
Baton
or
Rouge is
wrong?
kind of low. You sure it's not Lake Charles? You
Okay,
think it
so
is?
what? Maybe it is Lake Charles, but I thought
Yeah.
it was further away. Well, maybe it is Lake Charles. That it's the
Yeah,
first
it could
big
be.
bridge that goes across the Mississippi, and it's really very ominous when you just see it from a distance before you even get on there and drive it.
Because
To
it's so
me,
spiritually charged.
it is, and a lot of movies that were based on that period have scenes. They're on the Mississippi River.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of them that are based in slavery times. This is some that come. Well, Uncle Tom's Cabin is one of them.
Oh wow.
That movie was on the Mississippi, and also the movie Band of Angels. That was one I mentioned that before in another show. We had Clark Gable and Sidney Poitier in it. Several movies where the Mississippi River is a focal point. It's almost like a character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely was a character in my book as well. Yeah.
oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. So I was showing the cover in the back. This is a woman because she has braids, right? I think I see some lines there. Says on the I'm just saying I see the line. And then on the back, it's a man. And I didn't even realize that until you just said it. Because I didn't look at the back, I only looked at the front. And then I said, this is a lot of pages. It should be, I hope it's great, and I'm sure it is. But your storyline is so amazing, just where it started and that it wove in the pandemic. And I don't know if I've heard anybody else talk about an historical fiction book that brought you to the contemporary times and wove in the pandemic.
Well, I personally like when the past always reverberates in the present. And so for me, even though I was writing in multiple different timelines, they rippled to 2020, all the way from 1865. And so I wanted to sort of show that throughout these different generations, that there are still things within the respective lineages that needed to be addressed and needed to be accounted for and also to be healed.
Yeah. And I like that you had a romance or a love story as a central part.
Yeah, because there aren't a lot of that for me. I won't say there aren't a lot. I haven't read a lot of literature where there's an enslaved woman having consensual physical intimacy with someone else. I have not seen it. I have not seen, a lot of literature where you're talking about these different contradictory passions for someone. It's always, Black women and their bodies. It's always at that time period. It's always violence, 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 and I don't shy away from that. We're talking about the Reconstruction era, so you can imagine the amount of precariousness that they had throughout their lives, but they also loved each other deeply. And I wanted to make sure that that type of love was interwoven throughout the text, because that's how it started with me. I knew it wasn't happenstance that I was like, oh, they fall for each other. No, I knew I wanted to write a love story set against the backdrop of American history. I knew I wanted to write an epic, but with Black people, because every time I hear epics, it's always white people across the Great Plains or someone else. I wanted someone that looked like me. So that was already the anchor in the beginning.
Okay. Now there are several books that do that, but they may not be books that you would have read yet, or some of them are like older titles.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, like there is a lot of literature. And don't get me wrong, like I had to sit with myself and decide what type of aesthetic and ethical choices I was going to make, particularly when you're talking about an era like 1865.
Anytime before really 1960. I mean, a lot, so a lot of stuff went on. Yeah. So I get it. But there are some, but they're not, they don't get as much attention as other books. And I can just name a couple. And if you haven't had an opportunity to read them, Leonard Pitts has a book called Freeman. Freeman, like, I guess it's kind of like a metaphor, but the person's name was Freeman. And he walked 1,000 miles to find his wife after the Civil War. And it's a love story, and all he went through to find her. And that's an amazing book. And also, The Wake of the Wind by J. California Cooper.
Oh, someone used that as my book as a twofer, like a double.
Okay. So yeah, some people might, how they say on Amazon, it'll say people who bought one book, they might buy these other books together. It's kind of like that. So that's an amazing book as well. And then I can't think of her name. It's not coming to me. Rhonda could probably remember. One of her books is called Black.
Oh, shoot. Gwendolyn Brooks?
She's contemporary. She's written books in the last 10 years.
Oh, okay. Well, didn't Gwendolyn have a book called Black too?
I don't know. But anyway, maybe the name will come to me later. But she has a whole series and it's a love story in that period. See, Black might be hard to look up on Amazon because you just got one word. And then you get the phone book. But I can't think of her name right now. But anyway, there's a few. There's not enough. There needs to be more. And I'm glad that you're able to add your book to the mix. Did you find it, Rhonda?
I'm looking.
That's gonna bother me. You know how when something going
it's bothering me now. I have to find it.
because I know her name is like it's stuck in my mind somewhere. And so now you said you had two other books before this one?
I had three.
Three books before this one.
Okay, the book I was thinking about actually by Gwendolyn Brooks was called Blacks with the S on the end.
Okay. No, this one is just singular black.
Okay.
So it'll come. I may have to look it up after. I don't want to mess up Morgan's interview, but it's not gonna bother me. When you got your okay to do the book, what was the time frame between when you submitted it and when it came out? Because it just came out.
So it was 2020, and then I finished it in 2024, and then it was a pub date of April 2025.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it just came out last week, I believe, didn't it? Was it
April
last
22nd?
Okay. So last
Well,
month.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. How's the book doing? And like, what have you been doing?
I mean,
in terms of promotion and getting out there.
A lot of events in person and also virtually. I feel good because, I mean, the amount of the reception I've received, particularly from Black women, that is something that really just feels good. Like people like to say external validation doesn't matter, and that's not true.
It does. It absolutely does.
It matters, but also when you're a writer like myself, who works from home, who is always in her head all the time, to be reminded that your book has an impact, and to be reminded that your book is living many lives in places and corners besides people that you don't even know about. To get that type of reminder is what people like me, like it encourages us to keep going. And we need that.
Mm-hmm. Now you said you've been in the news business. That's like your day job.
Oh, I do writing full time now. Yeah, I was doing like editorial work then. But I do writing full time now.
You mean like writing novels or book
writing books? Yeah, writing books. Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how's that? So that means the book after this one's already written, right?
The book after which one?
Zeal.
Oh no. So basically,
well, basically what happened, right?
No. It's just like I have a standard of living that is sort of even though it's New York, I've written 4 books. So the type of money that I've been getting to support my work has been enough for me. And so when you come out with a book, sometimes the publishing contracts, they will basically have contracts set up where like you get paid upon signature, you get paid upon when a book is published. That's like not all at once. So that type of arrangement is really beneficial for me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we have all kinds of authors that come on. Some have been writing full time and they have 50 books. Some are writing part time and have 50 books. Some of them have a day job and they still get to write 50 books. I'm amazed at it. I have 15, and to me, when I tell people that haven't written any books, they think that's a lot. But I tell them, I'm in awe of people who can just churn out books, stories. They can come up with stories, new people, new characters, new settings, new arcs, new twists, new plots. I'm in awe of that. So, congratulations on Zeal. I can't wait to sink my teeth into it, because it sounds like it's going to be an amazing read.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. We really enjoyed talking with you.
Likewise. Enjoy your evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And so while we're at the break, I want to find out who this book is by Black.
Yeah, I know, because I couldn't find it. I'm like,
and if I tell you the name, you'll know it. She has several books.
Well, in the meantime, while you're looking for that, I do
Okay.
want to shout out my daughter, Beautiful Lawson, who just published her first poetry book this
I
week.
saw that.
Yes.
Congratulations. It runs in the family.
Hey, this is the creativity thing.
Yeah, the influence is there, and that's great. That's wonderful. Tell her congratulations.
I sure will.
This is going to bother me because I actually, and her name is not like a difficult name. It's like her first name is like a common name, like Jackie or something like that. But she
Okay.
has 5 books, and one of them's named Black. Anyway,
So it'll come to us after
it'll come
long after
after
the
the
show ends.
show, and because I have it written down somewhere, but I can't dig it out. But for if you're interested in historical fiction and want a solid romance woven into the storyline, the Freeman by Leonard Pitts is a great book. The Wake of the Wind by J. California Cooper, and Morgan Jerkins has told us that Zeal has a great romance woven into her story, Zeal. And so we talked earlier with one of our previous guests about books for Black boys. And so our next guest, our final guest on the show, has a children's book with a boy at the center of it. And the author is actually, I don't know if he's still playing basketball. I know he said I don't know if he's a former basketball player or if he's still playing. Turn your camera
I'm about to say, I know he's
around.
sideways.
Okay, so
There
now
we are.
right side up so we can see you.
Wow, you're even tall when you're sitting down.
There
Hi,
Right.
Kendall. Welcome to the show.
Very good. Pleasure to meet y'all.
Yeah, Kendall
Pleasure meeting
Gray
you.
is on Black Authors Matter TV tonight, and he's going to tell us about his book called I Can't Quit, as well as he has some videos, some animated videos online. So do you have a copy of your book, Kendall?
I do. I do. I can't
Okay.
quit
I
right here.
can't quit. And see, it's a young man.
Love.
We had
Yes.
a conversation earlier about books with Black boys as a central theme. And so first of all, are you still playing basketball or you are retired?
So as of recent, I just retired. So probably like my last stint was in Rwanda. I finished up around November. Called it quits probably like last month.
Oh, okay. So recently.
Yeah.
Well,
So
congratulations on retiring. Were you like, I want to be able to leave the game on my own terms while I'm still young enough to do other things?
Yeah. So it was really just it was time. I started my book in 2020, but I just like still had the desire to keep playing. Then I just, I have a 1-year-old son now, so it was just time to be back at home with the family after. And I did 10 years. I did my time, so it was.
Wow, that's a great career. 10 years is a long time.
Yeah, coming from Delaware, it's definitely, unexpected, but we made it happen.
Are you from Delaware?
I grew up. I was a military kid, so I grew up in Delaware. I'm raised, so I claim Delaware.
Oh,
okay. Was it
Graduated.
Air Force? Was it
Yeah, Air Force. My dad, he was, all around the world, and we kind of settled in Delaware when I was like 7. So,
okay.
yeah, Dover, I'm
Dover Air
guessing.
Force Base.
yep, Dover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a military brat myself, and I'm also a veteran. So I understand what you went through.
Oh yeah, we appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we
Appreciate
appreciate y'all's support. We can't do it without our families.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was tough, but I'm happy that Delaware is my home.
Amen.
Yeah. So did you play with one of the NBA teams or did you play like around the world? Different.
Oh, I started off. Let me just start off at college. I went to Delaware State University.
Okay.
Graduated with a master's and not master's, bachelor's in mass communications.
Mhm.
And from there, I went to I played for the Detroit Pistons Summer League team. Then I went overseas to Germany for my first year. Played in Poland, Dominican Republic. I played for the Brooklyn Nets, their G League team, and my most recent stint was in Rwanda. So it was beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome. You got to see the world. And I'll tell you, people think that the only people in the world who know how to play basketball are in the United States. They don't realize that these European teams and they ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
I
can hoop.
was stationed in Belgium for 5 years, and the base where I was hosted the military. It was a military basketball tournament, and
Mhm.
so they had all these teams coming from different parts of the world, and the teams that nobody could ever beat were from Lithuania, were from France,
Mhm.
and well, everybody used to beat the UK, but yeah,
It's
but they could ball though.
a hoop. I gained a lot of respect going overseas. I was 23 when I first went over, and I just turned 33 May 5th. So yeah, I learned a lot. I met some of my best friends.
Nice.
Just a recent country that I've been in, they showed me a lot of love. Rwanda, it's a lot of family out there. They greeted me when I first got there, like welcome home. So it was
Beautiful.
that was amazing.
Yeah, I've been hearing more and more about Rwanda lately.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, about things that are happening, is growing, and all kinds of stuff that's going on in Rwanda. And 20 years ago, you were hearing about the fights, the political unrest, but now it seems like it's settled down, and people are going there. It's like a tourist destination.
yeah. Rwanda is, I would say, probably the most beautiful country that I've ever been to. Just as far as like their culture, they're embracing. The people are beautiful. The food is great. It's super safe. They have people just the military background, and they based it off of just the genocide that happened, years ago. They just kind of just came together as a community and built it up. Like it's super beautiful. It's like
That's great to hear. I mean, and that I mean that's really important that you said that because I know a lot of people may have bad memories of Rwanda and some of the things that went on like years ago. So it's good to hear you say that, and I hope that inspires more people to just go out and visit these other countries.
absolutely, yeah. I would say anybody get out. If anybody can get to Rwanda, that'll be a great place to start.
Mhm.
Awesome. So now what oh I think you were about to ask the same thing, Gwen. I was just gonna say what inspired you to start writing children's books? What was that impetus that got you there?
Uh-oh, we got some sound issues.
Yeah, it's weird because she's not
Yeah, all
muted.
of a
It
sudden.
just yeah.
It was, yeah, everything was fine. Now we can't hear you. And you didn't touch anything because you were sitting back.
Oh, it might be his earbuds.
Can you hear us?
If you're wearing earbuds, can you take your earbuds out and then maybe that'll help?
I'm sorry about that. The Bluetooth
There
cut
it
on.
is.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I thought. The Bluetooth. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
All right, we back.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Say that again. I'm sorry.
She was
Okay, I was
asking
just wondering.
what inspired you to start writing children's books. And
So
Rhonda,
20.
you're frozen now.
I'm froze now.
Not you.
Sheesh.
Rhonda's
Wondering
frozen.
what inspired you to start writing children. Maybe I
You're
froze or something.
fine. You're fine, Kendall.
Oh, okay. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Rhonda.
So 2020, I was stuck in Germany. The whole world shut down, and I almost didn't get a chance to go home. But while I was in that idle space, I was talking to my uncle. He's one of my biggest mentors. He lives down in Atlanta, and he was just like, "Man, I understand everything that you kind of went through, just as far as like the resilience that you fought through. Why don't you write a children's book?" And certainly some of the things that I fought through is just kind of being teased. Believe it or not, I was short and chubby. I'm 6'9" now, but I was short and chubby. Um, I had poor grades. in school. I dealt with multiple surgeries and knee surgeries, and just being able to kind of give back in that aspect. He was like, "Why don't you write a children's book?" And I was just like, "You know what? You're right." So immediately I started writing, and not even like a couple months later, I Can't Quit came to life.
Okay.
Nice. Now tell us about the story.
So the story, just starting off, I was young boy, not knowing which direction I was going in. Like I said, I was short, I was chubby. People used to tease me all the time, like, "Oh, you can't play no basketball." Like, you know what I mean? Like, just look at you. But I never paid those people any attention. I just always kind of just wanted to be better the next day. I originally just started just because my friends were playing, and my parents. My mom, she actually played at Fresno State. She was a big. I come from a basketball family, but yeah, just further and fast forwarding, I get to high school. My freshman year, I was 5'10", and then my sophomore year, I grew to about 6'3", and then my junior year, I grew to about 6'6", and then senior year, I grew to about 6'8". But
Wow.
yeah, so
Yeah,
I
see,
hit a
boys keep growing after 13. Girls kind of 13, maybe 15. That's the tallest they're gonna be. But boys have a growth spurt and they keep growing. Sometimes to 21.
yeah, I kept growing in college. After when I got to college, I grew like another inch and a half.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah,
Wow.
so
Yeah.
I was a late bloomer, and
Okay.
me realizing that I was a late bloomer, I didn't take school serious. So by the time I got to my senior year, I was pretty much dominating in Delaware. But when it came down to college decision time, I didn't have my choice of picks because my grades were so bad, and I had to go to Delaware State. Which was a blessing in disguise because I was able to do some good things in Delaware, but it started off rocky. I was playing very well up until like the last half of the season and ended up tearing my meniscus, which put me out for the rest of the season. And then
Mm.
played for the next couple years, and then the switch finally clicked on. It was like, yo, you got to really bust your tail and work hard. So, I was training diligently, like running 5 to 10 miles a day. By the time I became a senior, I was doing pool workouts. And then, just the result of my senior season, I was able to be MEAC Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season, which has only been done one time in the whole conference history. And yeah, the rest is kind of just, going into my first year playing in Germany, I was doing very well. And then I ended up tearing my calf muscle.
Mm.
That was my first year. And then I struggled to come back, and I actually fought back to get on the court. And, some self-inflicted wounds, I ended up getting a DUI in in Germany, which they terminated my contract, sent me home. So that was, a big lesson learned. And then I ended up going to Poland, getting a second shot, tear my opposite calf muscle, fight back. Took me about 2 months, and I tear my groin muscle. So at this point, I'm like, man, I don't know if this is for me. Like, this is year 2.
Mm.
I'm having all these injuries. I done shot myself in the foot with this DUI. I had to start back over. But just that fortitude and my parents' just resiliency just instill in me. Especially my dad. He still works. He don't have to. He still work 12, 14-hour days, and he's always exhausted coming back home. But, I just used that and I just kept going. And the next like kind of period, I was just a substitute teacher, just rehabbing and recovering. And then, I ended up playing for a couple other teams. And like I said, 10 years later, Rwanda and retirement. So it's been a journey.
Wow, that has been a journey. That's been a packed 10 years, but I admire and applaud you for taking accountability for the things that you could have changed, the things that, or as you call it, self-inflicted wounds. You took accountability from that and you seem to have learned from that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one thing if I, could do different, I would do different, but now I'm able to kind of tell the story to that next generation to be like, man, you're gonna make some mistakes, but try not to, make the mistakes that you can kind of, you can just don't make those mistakes, the silly ones.
I'm
Like
with you.
kind of avoid those, put those away. You're gonna, as you get older, we still make mistakes when we get, grown and adults and elderly. So yeah, just cut the nonsense ones out.
Yeah, well, if they're not life altering, and some that are life altering are still lessons that you learn from, and you're able to pivot and continue on. They don't have to ruin your life. If you can stay out of prison for like a long prison sentence, just about anything else you can recover from. And even prison people can go to prison, learn something, and come out and go forward and live a very productive life. So
Absolutely.
mistakes are lessons, and we all make them, and hopefully we learn from them and don't keep making the same ones. It makes some new ones at least, not the
Absolutely.
same ones.
I have a 16-month-old son, Casey, and he just he lights up every room that he goes in, and I
Oh,
just like I gotta be my best for him because I can't let him down because he's just a super light, super bright light. Everybody. He was just on the plane. He's probably traveled more than any baby that I know. He's traveled a lot, but he was just on the plane, just had the whole plane just laughing, giggling. And I'm just like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah,
there is nothing more joyful than hearing a baby laugh. I love that
yeah,
little baby laugh. You can't help but smile when you hear it.
Yeah,
mm,
yeah,
yeah. It's pure joy, from them.
it is.
It's so. And on the other hand, I hate hearing a baby cry. I hate hearing somebody let their baby just cry, cry, cry. I can't
Yeah,
stand it. It's like even it doesn't. It's not my baby, but it still bothers me. You know.
right. I hear
And
them terrible twos is a thing though, so
it depends on the baby. My daughter was great the whole time. We didn't have any terrible twos. I didn't have any potty training issues. She sat on the pot once and she knew what to do. She was just it depends on the kid. And some
right.
take like till 4 years old when they get it. But some kids might do something late, but they do other things early.
Hmm.
It's just individuals. It's great seeing them grow up. It's just
Yes.
really amazing seeing them just
I
grow
love it.
up and develop. And it happens quick, so enjoy it
Yeah, I know.
because before you
He
know
about to
it,
be two. I remember when he first came out, he about to be two. So I'm like, it's
yeah,
crazy.
you remember when you brought them home from the hospital. Next thing you know, they graduate from high school. Then
Oh, hold
college
on.
is like a
Miss
blink of an
Gwen,
eye.
hold on. We don't need to start. We don't need to take it
Yeah,
there.
let's not get crazy, right?
Yeah.
I just want it's fast. Enjoy it because it's fast. So, why did you decide to put a little boy on your cover? With obviously you are a man, but why did you decide that you wanted to
That's just
kind of
the
target boys?
he's just the depiction of me, little
Okay.
black boy, like, just trying to find his way throughout, whatever he's going through. And, he's kind of just looking up, always looking up at the clouds, just imagining, dreaming of things that he can do and not really focusing on the things that he, that can't do. So that's where the title comes from. I can't quit. He's just, and like I said, he's just all over the world now. He has the book is in 3 different languages. It's in French, duolingo French, English. It's in Arabic, and it's
Oh,
in English, of course. But it has a coloring book as well. So it's just, he's been all
That's
over the world.
wonderful.
He's seen a lot of things, and his experience is not just for the black, the white. It's for
mhm.
everybody because resilience. No matter where you at, cultures, continents, countries, like the message of never giving up remains the same. So I can't quit. This is great right here. Just getting into it. He has a new cartoon out.
Right.
Yeah,
You have some animation with it as well.
yes.
And how can people see the animations? What website do they go to? Or is it YouTube or
Yeah. So we start off on YouTube. He starts off as a fitness instructor. So if you go under Gray's Universe, the ultimate fitness workout, you'll see a 3 minute. You'll see Gray on there with a military outfit on, just instructing 3 minutes. I use it for schools for, brain break, activities for the kids because, they need that break as long as teachers
Mhm.
need that break too. But yeah, it's just like he's going to take you everywhere through all journeys. He has a poetry episode coming out on Friday where he teaches the kids how to write haikus and sonnets.
Fun.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to teach you how to cook. He's gonna be in music class. And he's gonna get a summer job. So it's like he's gonna be all over the place.
So
Just
we're gonna go on the journey with him.
yeah, exactly. So Gray's Universe. He has a new poetry workshop that I was talking about. That I'm implementing in schools.
Okay, so you named him your last name.
Yeah, just Gray. I
Well,
felt like
the names have to come from somewhere. So I'm always intrigued by how people decide what to name their characters, especially in children's books. Like how
Yes.
he fell suit. I felt like Gray was. It's a part of me. So, I just had to be like, all right, name him Gray. I couldn't see him myself naming him any other name, so just take my last name, put it as his first name, and let him rock out doing what he's doing. But y'all in for a treat because he's gonna be all over the place. I'm planning on getting him to be spokesman for like a couple teams overseas. Just
Oh,
doing highlights and
Gray is
conference.
international.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Told you he
I know
started
you.
off. He started off. The reason why I got it in French, no, the reason why I got it in Arabic. Let me start it off. That was the
Okay.
first language I translated it to. I was in Tunisia,
Okay.
and I was dealing with a whole bunch of stuff in Tunisia. I was recently got divorced. Found out one of my family members had cancer. One of my closest family members had cancer,
Mm.
and I was kind of thrown back into basketball. I didn't know if I want to go back in that direction, but I was just like, something told me to get back into, just the sport. And it was a struggle. I was depressed for like the first week and some change. Then I started figuring out a routine for myself. It still kind of hurt a little bit, just everything just kind of being thrown at me at once. I started, praying a lot more, reading the Bible, just going for daily walks, listening to like the same 7, 8 songs, to kind of get me through my days to, go to practice, playing a game. And, I just wanted they embraced me like, Rwanda embraced me, Tunisia. That's my home. That's family too, because, they helped me out through that rough period of, my life that I never thought that I would kind of break out of. And my brothers, from Belsan, I get my teammates, my coaches, they were able to kind of help me transition. And, I told myself I wanted to do something for the community. So I had it in my contract, for me to, have books translated in their language and, give them out to the kids in the community. So that was my give back. And that's why Arabic came about. Um, and then
Oh,
as far as French, I was in Rwanda. And like I said, you already told you how beautiful the people and the
Mm-hmm.
spirits are in Rwanda. They speak, which is crazy. We in the U.S. we speak probably maybe 1 to 2 language max. Like they speak 5 different languages:
Yes,
French,
mm.
Swahili,
this is true.
Rwandese, English. Just so many different languages. And I'm like, man, like. And French, like everywhere I go, people speak French. So I'm just like, I gotta, put the book in French. So I can't quit it
Yeah,
yet.
a lot of African countries speak French.
Yeah,
A
well,
lot of everywhere speaks French. I'm like,
Hmm.
so it's just crazy. So yeah.
They were, well, France colonized a lot of countries too in
Yeah,
Africa.
absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you, because we only have a couple of minutes left, um, all the injuries that you suffered, I wonder about that with athletes. Um, when they, and it sounds like some of the muscles that get injured are, vital.
Yeah.
I guess the human body is an amazing machine, but how are you psychologically able to overcome all the different injuries that you had and still play? And are you ever 100%, like whatever the muscle is when you continue playing? Does it heal 100%, or are you kind of playing on an 80%? If you understand what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
no, no. I feel like when you truly an athlete and play so many years, like your body's never gonna be, 100%, 100%, especially going into like a long season and playoffs and championships. Like you try your best during the off season to kind of, just remain fully healthy, take care of your body, and you kind of just bring that along, as the course of the season. But injuries do happen no matter how hard you train, no matter who you train with. Like
Right.
people are gonna just have injuries. That's just the nature of the
And
sport.
unfortunately, fans don't always understand that. They want you to be 100% at all times.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not
if you
for them
want
to
to
understand.
play,
Right.
it's fun to play anyway.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
know my team is Golden State, and Steph Curry got hurt, so I feel like they would have had a chance to advance,
Yeah,
if he was playing, but he couldn't. So they couldn't beat the Timberwolves. They didn't have it. They
they
didn't
didn't
have it.
have that
And
that
I hate
spark.
that Clay left. I don't even know where he is now. I think that was a mistake.
He in Dallas now. He played for the Mavericks.
Oh, okay. I think he should have stayed there. They really had a good threesome with Draymond Green and Steph and Clay Thompson. And I don't know, did Dallas make the playoffs? I'm just asking. This is off topic. But I just wish he should have stayed. Anyway, I never really had a chance to ask an athlete that,
Yeah, I
about
mean,
injury.
it's more on the mental side though. Like you got to be mentally strong to get through some of these injuries because some of them can happen back to back, and you like,
Right.
man,
Yeah.
That's
like
what it sounded like you were describing.
yeah, yeah, they were just
Yeah.
happening back to back, and I'm just like, man, like it's only year two, and I'm like, I don't know if this is in my cards. Like, I do love basketball, but do I really love basketball enough to keep getting injured? But I had to kind of realign
Yeah.
my faith and my work ethic. Like even now, still to this day, I still get up. Still, life as an athlete. Still get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, train somehow. Mentally, just make sure I start my day with the word, and then kind of just keep going about the day. I make a lot of. I'm now into the business part of what I do. I can't quit entity, and I call everywhere from doing summer for summer programs, enrichment programs, all over the country. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
If you
you
want to,
definitely are, you made a decision that you're not going to be a one-dimensional person.
Yeah.
You're going to use what you've learned in athletics and take it to the next place. And life is about pivoting and shifting, and like it's like being in a tide. You know, it's
Hmm.
like following the flow of the river or whatever the tide is, and you have to go with the flow. You have to figure out how to exist with the world that you're going to be in for the future, not just like
I like the fact that
this.
you had the presence of mind and the forethought to pivot, because not only did you decide to write a book, but you created an entire platform
Hmm.
with this book. I mean, cartoons, workbooks, coloring books, the translations. and
Yeah.
you're going even further. So I mean, I think that's wonderful, and it's something that many children's book authors should try to aspire to. I have a client who's working on her children's book, and I'm definitely going to be telling her about you
I
because I want her
appreciate
to
it.
be inspired that she can go so much further than just writing the book.
Yeah. Ultimately, like that's how I kind of start my sessions off when I do author visits or workshops. I ask the kids, you know, kind of an open-ended question like, what's one of your goals? And they don't really understand what I'm asking them until I ask them, like, they'll tell me what their goal is, but then I ask them, like, what's one of your goals? Like, you can have more than one goal, more than one dream. I ultimately, I want to be a director. Some of my idols are, Tyler Perry, Ice Cube, Ryan Coogler, like, a lot of people. I have a new adult book coming out pretty soon. It's real spicy, so y'all might have to
Okay,
real
that's a
spicy.
complete
Yeah,
departure.
not for children.
Yeah, it's real spicy. It's called Angola Love Story. When I was yeah, y'all check it out. It's gonna be one of those
Oh,
ones
okay.
that's read after the dark. Like yeah. So
All right. Well, Kendall, we're at the end of our time. Show your book cover one more time.
yes, ma'am.
And we encourage our audience to support your work. Go check him out on YouTube with his animations. And congratulations on your next level, your next part of your journey.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
Cagebooks.com.
yes.
KAGE books.com.
And
That's
Rhonda
And
put it in the chat.
the link is,
yeah.
yeah, the link is already in the chat.
Oh,
It's
okay.
already in
Yeah.
there.
Take care of
I
that.
appreciate y'all for taking the time. This is an amazing platform that you both have. So, much credit to you all for supporting Black authors. So thank you, Miss Rhonda. Thank you, Miss Gwen. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
You have a
You're
great
welcome.
one, and congratulations on all you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Okay. Have a great night.
All right, you too.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Well, that's the end of this week's show. We'll be back next Tuesday for another amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.